Okay, it's Thursday, September 29th. This is end of the day SPY recap. You can see here today on Thursday, we end up with a red bar. It's a two down bar. In terms of relative to yesterday, we were below the midpoint of yesterday. I'll show you in a second. We opened lower and had the bias to the downside. When it became a two down bar here, we had a target of this bar here, and it reached that target. And you can see here, there's a little bit of buying at the end of the day. So when I really see this bar today relative to what we've been talking about, I still see this at the moment, even though it looks like it wants to head lower, kind of still within 5 days of potential overlapping data. Does it mean we're going to open up above the midpoint of this bar and head all the way up again? I can't say. Can't predict that. But if we do, it wouldn't surprise me. In terms of when you really look at the broadening action that's taking place here, this is kind of what we're getting. Over the last 5 days, you could see the megaphone here on the 15-minute chart spread out, lower lows, higher highs, and each time it came up and down, it went up, down. So who knows, if we start up tomorrow, maybe we will get a bit of a rally back to the top and start a little bit of more of a, after 3 weeks down here. This is kind of an introduction to when things happen is important. In other words, we're going to have Friday tomorrow, and I don't know how this weekly bar is going to close. If somehow we move up, it's only 3 points to the close of the open, of the week. If we just move up a little bit tomorrow, we could end up with a bit of a hammer bar, maybe a green bar tomorrow. And that would look like coming down and then not really following through much below this red bar of last week. It could look like maybe we're getting a little bit of a choppy reversal kind of thing here, and that starts our 2-up week. And then we kind of monitor if we start heading up, towards the next broadening high, which is up here. But I'll go over that tomorrow because it'll be the end of the week, it'll be the end of the month, the end of the quarter. The monthly chart looks like we're going to close red, so that's going to kind of forecast. Even when you see a little red, at some point you're expecting it to head down. So in October, we should break the low of this month at some point. Whether it happens early in October or somewhere in the middle, we don't know yet. This weekly bar will be interesting, in terms of how it closes tomorrow and what it looks like. And then we'll have to monitor wherever it closes. If it comes down big tomorrow, then it'll be a nice red bar. And the chances are we will follow through a little lower to start the week next week and be in line with that monthly bar, following through a little lower early on in October. But if we somehow rally up here, maybe we're going to start up. So a lot of those things we're going to watch for. It's still a down, bias in terms of the trend. But the key thing today, let's look at just the way it developed. Again, same kind of thing that I always look for: pre-market range, where that falls relative to the yesterday's bar, and then where the daily bars. What's really trying to develop here relative to all the other time frames. That's what we're looking for. So we knew we're kind of in a big trading range, and that's why I discussed, if we have a down break, which you can see here very clearly, the first move of the day was down, so that set the bias to the downside after that close. And where we go, right to the bottom of the range. I mentioned that would be kind of a target. If we would have went up, then we would have likely tried the top of the range. And then it's a question, when you hit the top or bottom of a range, do you continue or fail? So obviously we got the pause in here, and then there was a decent secondary buy, typical of, again, what I've discussed for a long time now, how I look for first directional move of the day. Then I know what the intraday high or low is. I determine if there's a chance for a second, attack on that intraday high or low. In this case, we had the two down over here on the 15-minute chart, and it worked down to the lows before, like I said, closing in on kind of strong volume here. We'll see what that means tomorrow. So, it was pretty clear day in terms of reaching our first target, and then there was probably a secondary trade overall. And, but when it's all said and done, even though this day looks really weak, you can see we're still kind of within the potential range of 5 days in a row here. So I really want to see what happens tomorrow, and again, how that aligns with the end of the week, where this bar ends up. And then the monthly chart, like I said, will probably, wherever we go, will still be red. So in some point in October, I'll still be expecting a little bit of a follow through to the downside, but we're just going to have to see if that happens early or, later in the month, given how this weekly bar closes. So again, clear day today. We're still broadening, all over the place, and in the short run here. And let's just see where tomorrow kind of ends. Tomorrow's an interesting day. Like I said, it ends the day, the week, the month, and the quarter. So we'll look at all that long-term stuff kind of on a weekend wrap up.